Welcome, Gideon, to episode number 3 of the Auto Trends podcast. How are you doing?
Welcome, Lucas, man. Good to see you again.
You as
Pretty
well?
fired up for episode 3. We got a really jam-packed episode, and yeah, good to see you again, man. How you been?
Absolutely. No, very good, very good. I see you're sitting in the factory tonight as well. Yeah,
You
we're both
know,
working late
just
tonight.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's like Elon Musk says, we sleep in our office.
that's it, man. That's it, man. I don't see too much activity behind us, though. Everything looks fairly quiet. Nothing's moving.
Yeah, everyone's on
Yeah,
break.
yeah,
Everyone's
that's it.
on break.
That's it.
Those executive lunches, they get long, if you know what I
That's it.
mean.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, it's like my
Exactly.
dad always told me, you sleep when you're dead. So
That's true.
no,
That's very,
no,
very true.
no time for now. But I'll tell you what, Luke, it's really exciting, man. We got really a jam-packed episode here. And the focus of today is manufacturers, that small, mid-sized manufacturer. You and I both have done a ton of work on this matter. And I think that there is a ton of insights in how small to mid manufacturers should think about parts commerce. Um, and just so we can, share with our listeners, I mean, when you think of small to mid-sized manufacturers, everyone probably has maybe their own definition of what that kind of sales volume is. But in our
Yep.
world, we typically look at what 1 to 50 million. 1 to 10 is typically small. 10 to 50 was kind of that mid-size, right?
Yep.
They're packing a punch. They got some revenue and cash flow, but really the focus
Yep.
is how to take that small. If you as a small mid-sized manufacturer, what can you do to gain market share? What can you do to double market share? Without
Exactly.
having a massive investment and using technology to help move that forward. So that's the focus of today. And
Yeah, they've
yeah,
got very much they have their own challenges, as you know, Gideon, like you say, we encounter this on a daily basis. And when you're the small guys, 1 million to 10 million, you've certainly got, you got capital challenges, you've got,
yeah,
shipping challenges, logistical challenges, where once you get past a certain point, some of those challenges, like say a capital problem, kind of go away a little bit more. But really, if you're starting out, you've got a small budget, a small facility, you're not doing huge volume, then certainly all these things add up and from a cost perspective.
well, that's a great point because cash is king,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
When you're constantly having to go out to third party sources to ingest capital into the business for your production runs. I mean, as a manufacturer, you're going to have high costs on your production runs because you're buying in bulk, right? You're
Exactly.
buying in high quantities, and then you're obviously breaking that product and distributing it out. In addition, sales costs. I think your G&A, right? General and
Yep.
admin expenses are
Yep.
out of control or can be if you
Yep.
don't see that revenue, that return. And not to mention, if you're in competing categories as, say, your large or enterprise manufacturers, there's just
Exactly.
areas you can't compete.
Exactly.
And when you look at that piece of it and you look at some of those challenges, typically where we look through the lens, and this is the whole intent of us being here, is reshift your focus as a small to mid-sized manufacturer to your tech stack.
Yep.
Technology will give you that advantage, that one differentiator, and also, and as well as I do, Lucas, is you're nimble. If you're
Yes.
small, we always say small but mighty, right? You're nimble and you can
100%.
move. And when
Yep.
you can move quick, and you can change to market trends, you can change to of just the pressures of the market. You
Yep.
can be much more successful, and through technology you can almost get over that hump to go from small to mid to large and grow a large
Absolutely.
manufacturing organization.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting now is you look, let's say, 30 years ago. I mean, anybody, we've got, look at the incredible reach we have with Auto Trends. We're reaching people worldwide, for basically nothing, for basically zero. Now, 30 years ago, 35 years ago, how much would a company had to have paid some sort of marketing firm or people to market their message to millions and billions of people, across the planet? So even these small manufacturers, they've got a lot of the same capabilities as, let's say, a Toyota. You know what I mean? They've got these same platforms. Everybody's using social media platforms. Everybody's using websites and these different platforms to reach their customers or their suppliers or their, warehouses, distribution channels. And I think that's amazing right now. And if the small manufacturers can really leverage those channels correctly, I think, they're playing with the big boys. Fine, they don't have the marketing and ad spend, but again, they do have a certain capability to reach the masses. Where I think
Well,
that's
in that's they do. That's 100% a great point, because if you look historically at the industry, the bigger you were in the 80s and 90s, everything was done through email was just starting to come about.
exactly.
Everything was done through like fax. I still
Yep.
gone into distribution centers and they're like faxing stuff. I'm like,
Right.
you guys are dinosaurs.
Right.
And
Yep.
and but if you look at the old way to gain that market share, it just it like happens over a decade, right? Well,
Yep.
we got a
Yep.
new distribution organization, right? We got parts authority in the west. We've got the parts house in the southeast. But that takes 10 years.
Yep.
Flying in, meeting leadership, building a relationship, waiting for the decision for them to put your product on their shelf to where they can
Yep.
touch all of the technicians and repair shops and jobbers and dealerships, right? And
Exactly.
so you look at this, it's virtually impossible. And that's why
Yep.
you have a lot of organizations that were just big for a long time, because
Yep.
they've ingested capital. It took decades and then they just grew over time. But once you had market share, you weren't losing market share. But when
Exactly.
you think of
Exactly.
today, to your point, Auto Trends podcast, right?
Yep.
We have a very large reach because we're leveraging technology. We're leveraging things that can
Exactly.
take somebody from, an idea into a whole nother like world. But when you look at that small, mid-size manufacturer, technology is the differentiator. And
Absolutely.
I think when we look at certain platforms like the Magento, the big stuff, and again, you know, I just want to kind of point out as we talk about some of these platforms, it's purely our opinion, right? And
Yep.
experiences. There's no connection. Um, but when you look at these pieces as a manufacturer, as a small, mid-sized manufacturer, technology can be the differentiator if you're smart, right?
Yep.
Are you connecting into your distribution? Maybe you only have one distributor and you're like, I don't want to sell to more because there's cost, right? I got to give them a better cost, right? I want
Yep.
to move it all through my own facilities. But you, as a small, mid-sized manufacturer, are never going to touch and find that next level growth if you just say up, I'm not interested in growing through distribution, because distribution is the lifeblood of the industry, because they touch those single
Yes.
repair shops and those single facilities. And I just encourage our listeners, I encourage our subscribers to think, if you're a small, mid-sized manufacturer, think through the lens of technology, right? And I'll give you an example, Lucas. I was in a meeting, gosh, not too long, about a year ago, and with again the owner, and they were about an 8 to 10 million manufacturer, and we talked about technology and how we can layer this in. And his point blank was like, yeah, well, we got a website, and okay, we have a website. So a year goes by and he's like, we got to load our catalog. Wow, a year or 2 year goes by and still no catalog, right? It's just like, well, that's really not a strategy, right? To just
Yep.
kind of put a
Yep.
couple point and click things. So it's mission critical that you look at how you're using technology. Are you connecting in distribution? Are you investing in your catalog? Those are some pieces that are critically important to being small but mighty. I mean, at the end of the day,
Absolutely.
to overtake market share.
Yeah, because your customers are not constricted just to small little regional areas anymore. If you're a small manufacturer anywhere in the U.S., your market is as big as you want it to be. It could be a worldwide sort of thing. It could, and if you're leveraging the technology correctly, that's where, like you say, it really matters. You can't just say I'm going to throw up any e-commerce website and just throw it up on the web and just say right now that I've got a website, millions of people are going to come to my website. that's not how it works. You need to properly have that thought behind it and say, go methodically and say, I'm going to use the website to, like you say, with distributors, or, what's the focus of it? Is it to go to direct to consumer? There has to be that strategy in behind it. That's
Well,
important, not
well,
just to simply just create it.
yeah, well, and a great point is I see it all the time with small manufacturers, right? They typically have cash flow problems, right? They always need
Yep.
cash flow. Cash flow is king.
Yep.
They need cash flow always ingested in the business. So they have to sell
Yep.
product. But if you go on their website, sometimes they're archaic, sometimes they have, somebody did some design on it, whatever. But
Yep.
the guts of their technology is non-existent. And if you go
Right.
on their website, in many cases, you'll see buy from Amazon. Oh my God, death of me. Buy from another e-tailer. Buy from this e-tailer. Buy from this e-tailer. Right.
Yep.
And it's like, here I am as a customer knocking on your door saying, hey, Johnny, awesome. I'd love to buy your products, but they're sending me to a marketplace style of
Yep.
buying experience, which is fine. But what is that marketplace actually doing? They're
Exactly.
just selling your product and backdooring it into a distributor.
Yep.
So, in essence, your product is still coming from a distributor closest to the IP of that customer where they sit.
Yep.
So, when you're a
Yep.
small manufacturer, flip your way of thinking. Don't think about, let me just pass it off to customer acquisition cost platform of 12% on X platform, right?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Instead, pull that into your own world, collect the consumer data.
Exactly.
Now, your distributors that you work with, it can be one, it can be many. Typically, small manufacturers have one, maybe two, if they're lucky.
Yep.
Now, you route that volume directly into the distributor, which is what the e-tailer is doing.
Yep.
Now the distributor's happy. You as a manufacturer are very happy because you just collected the sale. Now you have consumer data to go do market research on. Are the new
Yep.
products coming out a fit for our customer base? Is their product market fit? And now I've sent the order to the distributor, which distributor's happy because they have spent no cost to go sell your product. You sold it for them and you gave them money.
Yep.
Now that product gets picked, packed, and shipped. As a manufacturer, you now have macro data.
Exactly.
Now you could go back to your distributors and say, hey, distributor, I believe that if you stocked 25% more of our catalog, it would amount to another $400,000 in sales. The
Exactly.
reason it's not there is because we're fulfilling it, or it's just out of stock. So these are
Yep.
really macro. This macro data is giving you insights now, versus the opposite of like, go to the website, oh, smack, okay, rock or whatever marketplace, send the
Yep.
order over to them and let them handle it.
Yep.
You've just disconnected yourself from that customer.
Yep.
And you know as
No,
well as I
exactly.
do, customer data is king. That is
Absolutely.
absolutely king.
Absolutely, and there's a lot, there's some of these websites like Revolution Parts, for example, that if you go on there, you're getting all this data. There's the analytics that you're getting as part of their package, in the back. So, you're getting a complete, sort of parts focused platform, but they're collecting that data and you can look at it in real time. You're getting inventory levels, you're getting, data on your sales, on shipping, even shipping. I think that's a great, thing to touch on as well. A lot of these platforms have amazing shipping deals that are included with them as well. So you're saving on your USPS and all your shipping needs as well, and carefree, to the client using these platforms, which is huge headache gone.
Well, and that, I know we touched on that on episode 2 when we begin to evaluate different platforms, generalized versus specialized. And those are some great, areas that when we look at the Revolution Parts platform, and what they have done with their tech stack, obviously they got their start in OE, but
Yep.
I encourage, if you're a Mopar, dealer, or you're a Mopar buyer, that's a great example. You go on there, store.mopar.com, and you're now shopping, right, for your favorite Mopar items. But the big key here is that, they're not fulfilling out of their own facilities. I mean, you want to fulfill out of all of your network, out of your partners. And we've done some a review on many of these platforms, and that's one thing that Revolution Parts does really, really well, is they're able to connect you into distribution, but also they're able to help grow distribution because of those connection points. So I think it goes back, when you're small to mid-size, again, it's up to you on how you think about that strategy. What's important to you? Is it low introductory pricing, and then I have to have a tech stack that I build on? Then I have to build this technology, and next thing you
Exactly.
know, you're just stacking technologies on top of each other that actually aren't speaking to each other. And now
Yep.
you have to hire a developer, you have to hire an engineer to build middleware in between them all. And then you just
Exactly.
kind of get a little bit of a shit product, right? You're just
Yep.
like, it
Exactly.
kind of works, it kind of doesn't. We're death by a thousand cuts, integration here. Oh, that's okay. Oh my gosh. And then in
Exactly.
many cases, when you're small to big to small to mid as a size manufacturer, you throw up your hands and you say, let's just go the old route. Let's
Exactly.
hire a manufacturing sales rep in the
Exactly.
Northeast and let them peddle our products into distributors because they say they have great relationships. Well, here's
Exactly.
the big gap, is that is an old model. It is a model that will always probably be around because of that human connection. But we
Yep.
know bet more and more technology is connecting distribution to manufacturers. And also, when you look at the investment to go hire a firm in the Northeast that says, we've got boots on the ground in this particular region, we're going to help you grow your market share, we'll help you grow distribution. There's
Yep.
high investment costs there. You're paying upfront retainers. You're paying commission on every single product, right? So there's a big investment when you look at that. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, when you're in that small to mid range, you want to have leverage points at every point. Sure,
Yep.
if you can afford, go hire a firm. But I'll tell you this: your technology can empower you to be the absolute largest possible organization you can be. It also
Yep.
helps with forecasting. It helps with raw materials. It helps with making decisions on what products you're going to build and what products you're not going to build. So I encourage, and we see this, Lucas,
Yep.
all the time, is look at the technology, make sure the roadmap is specific to your organization, it connects in distribution, and it gives you the power and the empowerment to be, as we always kind of say jokingly, small but
That's right.
mighty.
That's right. No, I think you want to, like you say, leverage this technology to reach the masses. If you want to hire, one sales guy, and again, we do see it all the time. They say, well, we're going to hire one or two sales guys directly, and they're going to call around. No, you want to be blasting, on all these different social media platforms, through your e-commerce website, through, every, avenue that you have, and you're reaching hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people a day versus, one guy picking up the phone and, calling these distributors. And you still need that guy. I mean, that we're not saying, get rid of all your salespeople and automate everything and, go 100% the tech route. But certainly you have to use e-commerce solutions now definitely as your base, and then build upon that, because really, again, as a small guy, especially in the market, you really want to touch as many people as you possibly can, initially.
Well, and I think when you look at investment, right? So everyone always is like, okay, well, what's the return on investment, right? I think it's kind of probably become a buzzword a little bit in business, but it's a true statement, right? What
Sure
is
it
my
is.
return on the investment? If I invest 10 grand
Yep.
here, what can I see as the output? When
Yep.
you hire human capital, right? When you hire labor, when you hire the best sales guy in the world, when you hire, it costs money, and
Yep.
you're buying their time at the end of the day.
Yep.
When you look at people, and I think we're going through this in not just our industry but every industry, is automation, right?
Yep.
Bots picking.
Yep.
I mean, go walk into an Amazon FC, right? They've got as many bots, and they're testing stuff. They're trying to eliminate that, that labor component, because machines don't call in sick unless they're broken
Exactly.
down.
Yep.
Machines don't get angry if their wrong coffee creamer's not in the break room, or the
Yep.
snack machine
Exactly.
broke, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
You ever walk into a break room, the guy's banging on a snack machine because
Of
his
course. Of course.
because his Cheetos got stuck or whatever. And
Exactly. Exactly.
not that that matters. I don't know why I brought that up, but
Yep.
but the point is when you look at that piece of it and you're a small to large manufacturer, good talent costs money. And
Yep.
so, but when you look at technology, and we've seen it, is you almost have a $15,000 to $25,000 annual investment into a platform that allows you to be small but mighty, right? You
Yep.
can almost gain a presence that, wow, these guys are really big and it seems like they're just moving and shaking. And then you
Yep.
begin to grow your distribution through seamless connectivity. Now
Yep.
you're generating demand, you're gaining market share, you're potentially running a nice agency package into these programs, right? Heavy SEO, excellent search engine marketing, beautiful email campaigns, retargeting, right? Following. And what you're
Yep.
doing is that macro data is going back into your pocket and you're learning, right? You're not
Yep.
disconnected to the in consumer. You're now more connected, therefore you can make strong decisions, and your technology is purely, it's like a 12, 15, 25, $30,000 investment for that
Yep.
small guy. I don't want to talk about enterprise because enterprise stack is a whole nother can of worms, and we're going to get to that episode at some point, just because you have
Yep.
big integrations, you have, very, very complex things. But when you look at
Yep.
that small mid-market guy, invest in your catalog, right? We always say invest in your pies and aces standardization of the industry.
Yep.
Invest in a technology that you can now grow on. Okay. Does that tech stack have distribution connectivity, right? Can they move orders seamlessly? And then the
Yep.
third piece that I think is completely overlooked is, does that platform have a network that can create incremental opportunity, right?
Right.
Can you
Yep.
license that catalog to your sellers? And now you have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 additional sellers peddling
Yep.
your product with their own marketing programs and their own leverage. And now you're like, holy shit, man, we're really growing out of our seams and we
That's
haven't
right.
added one head count.
That's right. The whole ecosystem, like you say, you're just combining all these different factors into one large ecosystem, and it just runs like a machine. Once it's all put together into that stack, then you can definitely get it running, just as a machine. And I was going to say to you, I think we have a guest coming up in April that Gideon and I actually spoke to about, I think it's about 6 weeks ago, and you'll probably catch on. I don't want to say the name Gideon, but you'll kind of catch on as I'm talking here. But he's going to be a guest on our show, and he said something really interesting. He had a brick and mortar retail store for parts for 14 years. And this is in the Las Vegas area and wildly successful. Really, really successful guy, lovely guy. And he sold it, I believe it was last June, is what he told us, Gideon, if I'm not mistaken, and
Yep.
he sold it in June. And he called us just to connect with Gideon and myself, and we talked to him. And he's going through the process right now of getting everything set up with Revolution parts. And we told him we'd love to get you on the show because he had some great little nuggets. Because he said, I'm comparing now. I'm out of the retail business. He's strictly going to be an e-tailer now online. He said, I'm giving up the brick and mortar.
Well, and
But when
he kind of he retired a bit, right? I mean, he
yeah,
sold it, and this now has become, look,
yep,
this is my passion project. But I think he found a lot of the right guys, and so as
he
a
did.
1-2 man shop, he's laying the foundation to pack and punch. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I just,
No,
yeah.
no,
So
no, you're right.
he's running that small shop, but he's making some awesome things happen.
No, he is, and he believes so much in the e-commerce space now. And like I say, I'll remember this for a long time because he was like, "Really, Lucas? I'm comparing my costs when I was a brick and mortar space, like what I'm paying, what I'd be paying for rent for that store. I'm now going to pay, put that into my e-commerce platform instead of paying the staff, instead of paying, the rent, instead of paying the electricity, all that. He says I'm going to put that right back into marketing my e-commerce platform, and yeah,
Well,
it was
w-
very
well, it,
interesting.
well, eh, but what great is great about it is, this is kind of passion per project turned, because he's an industry guy, and
Yep.
as you know, Lucas, I mean, once this industry bites you, it seems to just get a hold of you and you can't get out of it. It happened to me, man. I don't
Right.
know why. I just love the industry, and I want to see this industry be wildly successful for our industry people, our manufacturers, our distributors, our e-tailers and retailers, our
Yep.
consumers, right? The people who are buying these products, man. There's so many people that are just trying to make ends meet, and all they need to do is get their vehicle up and running so they can go make a damn living. And that's
Yep.
what we do. And I think technology is going to continue to expedite that. But the point was, with the gentleman you were talking about, is he's now connecting industry relationships he's had for 20 plus years, and he's connecting those distribution centers into his ecosystem. And
Yep.
again, he would be more by definition a retailer, but that's the exact pack a punch. He's now coming with a
Yep.
relatively low budget, right? Hedged his risk, and he's
Yep.
packing a complete punch with complete upside. And I would say 12 to 24 months, he's going to be swimming in cash probably, because he's
eh,
going to own a
Yep.
lot of market share, and I think he's doing a lot of the right things. That brings
Yep.
up another point as we go back into how do you double market share as a small to mid-sized manufacturer. The gentleman that you just brought up would be by definition an retailer, an e-tailer. But when you're looking at like platforms, and this is one thing that Revolution Parts does incredibly well, is you can take your catalog, license it out to a retailer who's doing the right things to build a big e-commerce program.
Yep.
Now you're compounding your efforts with no added labor. So when you look at,
Exactly.
let's hire a new sales guy, I think we've got the right guy. He is going to be the best. Okay, you're buying his time. Is he going to deliver? I see it all the time. 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. He was a good interviewer, right? That's the
Yep.
worst hire in the world. Worst hire in the world. If you come back and your assessment is he was a really good interviewer, man, you failed, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
so, but with technology, there is expectations, right? You understand what the path is, and you hedge that risk. And so I think when we begin to look at that piece of it, and I'm excited to have, we're not going to share his name quite yet. That will be coming out on a post on all of our social channels with the date, the time, etc. But we really are excited to just hear his insights, because from a small to mid-sized manufacturer, those are the guys that you
Yep.
want your products to. Those are the
Yep.
guys that are going to take you to the next level. In addition
Exactly.
to your own e-commerce strategy and program. So now you've got your own infrastructure, you've got a seller infrastructure, right? And
Yep.
now it's like you're working without, what is it? What's the saying? It's like you work smarter, not harder, or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
you're leveraging the efforts of others for, at the end of the day, your own benefit, but also all of our benefit and industry benefit. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, I'm looking forward to having him on. And then, I'd love to see him come back in 6 months, every 6 months for the first
100%.
year to 2 years. I'd love to have him on, and then everybody can kind of hear it direct from him, saying, look, here's what I did the first 6 months. Here's the success I've had. Here's the challenges I went through. And then any of our listeners, that are listening, they may choose to follow that exact same path and be like, hey, look at this really worked for him. And I'm sure this guy would be very open to sharing his experiences, his
For
ups
sure.
and his downs. And, I think that would be really interesting. But
Yeah,
definitely get him
no,
on as a regular guest just for
I,
some updates and
no, absolutely. Well, it's important that our subscribers are listening, are following stories, right? And I think that that's
yep,
one, when we were back in 2023, Lucas, planning out these things and how we were going to, change the world with everything. And we're just two Joes, right? That really
yep,
love the industry is, that's a big thing, is we want to bring stories, right? And we want you as a subscriber and a listener to be able to follow those stories to understand what's effective and what's not. If we can
yep,
help you hedge risk, if we can help you make better decisions as an organization through technology, that's exactly what we're here for. We
right,
know for a fact. I mean, we've gotten just out of multiple meetings where our industry is ready, and it needs technology that's connected to distribution, to manufacturers, to cataloging, etc. And it brings up a point of, okay, if I'm a small to mid-sized manufacturer, what should I invest in, right?
right,
I don't have infinite capital. I don't
Yep.
have, you know, big private equity in my pocket, right?
Yep.
I have limited capital. What do I invest in? And as
Yep.
we mentioned, Lucas, there's really a few components that are mission critical. One, your catalog,
Yep.
right? Invest in your catalog.
Yep.
Hire somebody, pay somebody,
100%.
invest in your catalog. Your catalog
Absolutely.
is the visual representation, the tangible. I can feel it, touch it almost through my vision and through the online feel.
Yep.
Invest in your catalog. If you have catalog gaps, go fix them today, right now,
Yes. Yep.
today. Go fix it.
Yes. Yes.
The second
Yes.
is infrastructure, right? Am I provisioning the infrastructure that I can build on? Or am I getting caught by, ooh, it says $35 a month. I can build all this great
Exactly.
thing. Now you're like 3 months in, nothing's happened. You haven't hired anybody to do anything. Now you have to layer
Exactly.
on technology, have to take everything, and then you throw up your hands and you say, shit,
Yep.
what did we do?
Yep. Exactly.
And then
Uh,
the last piece is making sure
you-
that you have connectivity into your strategic partners. Can you move
Yep.
orders to and from quickly, seamlessly, in one click of a button or in an automated fashion? That is the three. Those are the three critical pieces. I don't think you need a big investment. I think you probably think it's a much larger investment than you reality is needed. But
Yep.
we're here for you guys, and that's what we do.
Exactly. Yeah, and don't be intimidated by it, and this isn't the future. If you're not doing this stuff now, you have to be doing it now. It's not, maybe should I do it or should I try it? This is the way, it's going. It's already there now. You have to be in this space. It's not a question of should I not be in this space? You really have to be. And you'll see it even at the bottom of our screen. You can feel free to email us info@autotrendsam.com. But if you have a question or you're, a small manufacturer or a large manufacturer or a small retailer, a big retailer, or you want to become an e-tailer, send us a message because we've got some great connections that I know both Giddy and myself are happy to share with you. I mean, we're not saying, free. This is why we're doing this podcast is because we want to share our knowledge and our experience. And you may get in touch with us and say, geez, I really wish I knew somebody in this organization, or can you help me connect with these guys? Or, because that's what we're here for. And between the two of us, I'm sure that we can point you, in some sort of direction or help you. So please don't be afraid to get a hold of Gideon and myself on LinkedIn or send us an email, and be happy to work with you and get back to you and help you along your journey, because that's all it is, Gideon, isn't it? Like, I mean, we got to this point where we are today because of people that we knew, and not that when we reach out to them, they're not asking, what are you going to do for me, what are you going to do for me? Everybody that we meet in this industry is happy to help one another, and they put you in touch with this guy, and that could be a gold mine. One connection for a small manufacturer, really can spiral out of, control. We've seen many, many times.
100%. Well, that's it. I mean, really, that's the whole focus, man. Is we're here for the industry. We have a large book of contacts and connections, and case studies. I mean, that's what we do, right? We're not going anywhere, and we're here to have the right guidance and help thought leadership in this particular space. We've seen a massive gap in technology, automotive parts. There's
Yep.
not a lot of great technology leaders in this space. It's getting better, but we're going to continue to see an evolution here over the next 24 months, 36 months, 5 years, because it's a necessary evil. And I wouldn't even say it's an evil. It's just a matter of evolution, and
Right.
the industry's changing. Um, and also, as we evolve this, Lucas, I know we've said it before, but if you're a small manufacturer and you want to kind of be someone who says, "Hey, let's tell your story," we'd love to have you on. We'd
Yep.
love to hear your pain. We'd love to hear your what's good. We'd love
Yep.
to hear your thoughts. We'd also love to provide you a platform that you can go out and grow market share through auto trends, right?
Yep.
Our following continues to grow. We're continue to making the waves. We're going to bring the fire every single day, and that's a guarantee. And we really want you on, and we'd love to have you reach out to us. Info at autotrendsam.com. or you ping us on our LinkedIn channel. Either one is fine. We have some great guests that are lining up for the future.
Yep.
I know Yang is probably going to be on. That is a young automotive group, I believe. Oh, gosh, I should know that better. I'm a part of that. But yeah, we want to continue to get folks on our platform that can help tell the story and help move the needle for our industry. So we are very excited, and so please reach out and we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at even auto trends, and now, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Music, we're on Amazon Music, I think there's 11 different platforms already where our message is getting out on. So again, if you're starting something up or interested in starting something up, or, you want to get some publicity for yourself, reach out to us. We're happy to, help support you, to help you grow in whatever fashion that we can, even if it's to come on for a brief 5 minutes, or you want to do a little plug, or we're happy to connect with you. Really, we want to make as many connections in the industry as we can, get the word out there, and yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, Lucas, great episode. We're about coming up on time here. And
Yep.
again, we just want to hit home. If you are a small, mid-sized manufacturer, we'd love to talk to you. We'd love to hear your story. We'd love to hear your pains. I hope what you took from us today is valuable. If you want any details on any discussion that we hit on today, please reach out. We'd gladly share more detailed insights. Again, we can talk about this all day long. And so we'd love to just help you along your journey. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. Outside of that, Lucas, anything else before we sign off?
Nothing else. I got to get this factory going back here, Gideon. I'm kind of concerned. None of my workers are back yet, so I got to get this fired up back here.
I'm telling you, that executive lunch is just hardcore, man. It's no
Yeah,
joke.
yeah. We're going soft over here. We're going soft. All right.
All righty,
All
good
right,
Lucas. Take
Gideon.
a good day, man.
Okay.
We'll talk
Take
soon.
care.
Bye.
All right.